And what's interesting for us now is obviously part of the reason for doing the Leader Series is we're in a period of huge change, which has been dropped on us by God or something like that, who knows, which obviously we're going to talk about quite a lot, but obviously you're quite involved, and obviously you can't, I don't know, we'll obviously go through how much you can talk about it, but with regards to Liberty and Virgin Media and this O2 merger and stuff. So you're in a period of real change at the moment, but I guess with your experience that you've had so far in your career, you're used to that. Because it's something that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. That's your BAU, isn't it? You know, most people's this would be changing in BAU. So when you think about those kind of past significant challenges that you've dealt with those major kind of corporates, you know, what are the key ones that you've had to overcome in the past, you know, that you can kind of talk about and help us to understand?
Yeah, I guess for me, the key thing that is a constant through any type of change, whether it's a restructuring to reduce costs, whether it's an expansion of a business, whether it's a merger or acquisition, or in this case, whether it's something that, let's face it, 6 months ago, very, very few people foresaw, and there would be very few, if any, companies on earth that, if they're talking truthfully, would have had this type of thing in their business continuity planning.
No one plans for a pandemic. That's one of the favourite phrases at the moment.
Exactly.
Get nearer the router. That's another favourite in my house.
Exactly. And so, but I think the one constant for me throughout all of those types of change is that any type of significant change, the biggest impact is on the people in those businesses. And if you don't start middle and end with the impact on people, then you right. haven't got a hope of that change being successful.
Sure.
So it's interesting. I know we're going to talk a bit about the technology that and how businesses are using and may use technology to both to help in the current situation and to come out the other side of it. My view is slightly different on that, which is that the technology for me in my sort of career has been the technology as a tool, and you can pick the best tools that you've got, but unless you have people coming with you along that journey, then it frankly doesn't matter how efficient, how effective, how groundbreaking that technology is. The difference this time is that with a sort of a normal transformation program, if you like, or a merger acquisition, you've got time to prepare for it. You've got time to start having those kind of conversations with people to kind of read the room, to start building that consensus and that understanding of whether people agree with it or not, why you're doing this change, how it's going to benefit the business, and then start to bring people along that journey, accepting that everyone follows a different route. Everyone has their own particular path, depending on whether they're part of driving that change, whether they're being impacted by it. The difference this time is that it's happened very suddenly, and a lot of things that I would normally do, I can't do, because the biggest thing in any sort of change like that is actually getting people together, actually getting them physically in a room, because you can read you can see how people are feeling. Here we've had probably the biggest the biggest impact on a lot of people that maybe they've had in their working lives, have certainly had for a significant period of time, and that's coincided with not being able to actually be with people to talk it through. Everyone will be remote, and so you can have the best networking tools, the best video conferencing tools. I mean, the fact that we're able to sit here speaking to each other, that's great. But it for me, it's no substitute for that human to human interaction.
Yeah, that's right.
And so the biggest challenge for me, certainly at the moment, is how do you take what you know from running those sort of change programs and then apply it in an environment where you can't do a lot of the things that you normally do. You can't be in a room with people.
So when you've come into change before, I mean, I would generally suggest the changes, if you're talking about mergers or M&A, the change has been driven from an executive or C-level level. It's generally not a revolution from below, it's a C-level. So do you find, and do you find you usually coming to change with people with reticence or excitement?
It's always a mixed bag. Yes, there will always be certainly the mergers, acquisitions, restructurings, operational efficiencies, new product launches. There's always going to be someone in the C-suite or at CEO level that is sponsoring that change, is right behind, and is probably already quite a long way down that journey because they've maybe been thinking about this for a while, and you get the full range with everybody else of people that are excited by that and maybe part of the group that's been working on it, through to people that feel threatened by it, or those that just sit back and see what happens. So every change will have those people at sort of all stages of that change cycle, and that will continue right the way through the change. There'll be some people that never really come on board with it. There'll be others that maybe once they understand the rationale, whether they like it or not, once people have been able to analyse it, get on board with it, they then become either proponents or they become accepting of it. But even with it's very interesting, even with a change where a sort of a traditional change where you've got somebody at the C-suite who is sponsoring it, it's quite rare for that consensus to be right the way across the C-suite group. And so actually one of the first things you need to do is to see, well, exactly where are the leaders, the people that are going to need to sponsor this and lead it within their own teams, where are they on that curve, and building the consensus there before you actually get onto the wider group of people.
Wow. So I see that in our business as well, that you make this decision, but then you have to get everyone on board at this level, and then you get everyone on board at this level in order to drive that change.
And quite often the person sponsoring will say, well, yes, we're all behind it. And of course, once you then dig a little deeper, spend some time one-on-one, you find that almost always isn't the case, even at that senior level. And so the amount of time you have to spend up front building that consensus, sometimes months of doing that before you're actually ready to take it out to a wider group. Sure. None of which has happened with what we're dealing with now.
No, not yet. You're at the formative stages, I guess, aren't you? So.